Hi guys, my name is Nadia Andreeva. I'm a wellness coach in New York, and today we're going to talk about habit change, about ways to change habits that are hurting your body in the long term, and you know that they're not good and you want to give them up, but for some reason you're having really hard time dropping or letting go of that habit. And the reason is not because you're weak, it's not because your willpower is really bad, it's because habit change is really difficult. And in the past video, you can see the link right here, I was talking about a more intuitive internal approach to creating change and habits that help you bring to a place in a body where you want to be. And basically it's creating the feeling, getting very clear on the feeling that you want to experience, and then from there asking every single cell in your body to support and guide you to that change. And it's a very powerful practice, so I would recommend you to watch that video and to go through all the 3 steps that I was describing. But the thing is, when you are in a real environment, when you're at work or when you're in a social environment or when you're under a lot of stress, sometimes it's really difficult to stay connected to the body and listen to its intuition. Because when your attention is required outside in the external things, it's hard to bring your attention internally and check in with your body. It takes a lot of practice to constantly stay and be present in your body, be present with your emotions, and stay aware. If you are at the stage where you can stay mindful and aware at every single step in your life, you're way ahead of so many people and probably way ahead of me, and that's an amazing thing. So if you want to share any tips, please share in the comments below. But if you are like most people, if you are like me, when you are under stress, you need to have a structure that you can rely on that will help you to stick to the habits that you know are best for your body. And again, it's going to be 3 steps, and it's very simple steps. One of them is identifying the habit that you want to let go of and change. And it can be, we'll go with an example, but you can do through the same steps with any habit. So we'll take overeating. And that's something that was very true for me for a very long time. That's why, since I have personal experience with it, I'm going to guide you through the way I was changing the habit. But it can be binge eating for somebody, it can be drinking, it can be smoking for somebody, and any behavior that you know is not good for your body, but you keep doing it. So for me, for a long time, it was overeating. So I would still eat really healthy foods, but I would eat way more than my body needed. And the first step is to change your attitude. So you're not ignoring the behavior anymore. You recognize that this is the behavior that you want to change. And awareness is the first step to resolving the issue. Once you know the habit, look at what triggers it. So what's around you at the moment when you engage in that habit? Look at the time of the day. Look at where you are right now. Look at what emotions might be coming up. So you're basically looking for what trigger is the same every time when you engage in this behavior. So back to my habit that I was changing. So I would never overeat when I was on the weekend. If I was out with somebody, basically the only time I would overeat is if I was working at home the whole day. And by the time lunch rolls around, I've been at the computer for 5 or 6 hours, and I just needed a break. But at the same time, it was still another half a day that I needed to keep going, so I felt guilty taking a break. Eating was the only activity that was permitted because we're supposed to eat and everyone does it during their lunch. So the longer I stayed eating, the longer I would have a break from the computer. Plus, another thing that usually accompanied the whole thing was that by the time lunch rolled around, the to-do list was still really long, so I was really overwhelmed and I was all in my head. When your energy is all in your head, your body wants to naturally ground. And one of the easiest ways for the body to ground is to bring your attention into the stomach by having food in the stomach, having heavy food in the stomach. So the more the more you eat, the more grounded you feel. But eating to the point where you can't think, can't move, and basically become unproductive and tired is not necessarily a good thing. So yes, you get grounded, but at what price? So that was a trigger for me. Try to figure out what is the trigger for you. What happens when you go for cookies at night? Is there any emotion? Is there maybe fatigue and you're going because you're tired? Do you feel lonely? Try to really get honest with yourself and be present with that feeling that comes up, or that emotion, or that time of the day. After that, we're going to analyze the reward. So what is that your body or your mind trying to get by engaging in the habit? So again, we're trying to understand what is the reward that your body is trying to get by engaging in a certain habit. So for me, the reward was extra time to rest and some grounding. Okay, so if you're, for example, trying to get something sweet when you're tired, the reward that your body is trying to get is energy. You can get it either by resting or by getting sugar. Sugar is not necessarily a good long-term solution, but it does give you energy short-term. So try to figure out what is your body trying to get. And then the last step is understanding how you can provide the same reward when the same trigger comes around that is going to be good for you both short-term and long-term. So again, back to my example, if I were to look at, I needed grounding and I needed some rest. So I needed to feel less overwhelmed and I needed a break from work. The easy way for me to provide it, to ground, would be to sit, close my eyes, and bring my attention in the body. That usually is very grounding for me. So just do a few minutes of deep breathing would be as grounding for me as stuffing my belly with a lot of food. Rest. This one is tricky, but for me it was working with the belief that it's okay, it's totally fine for me to take a break in the middle of the day, since I do own my business and I usually work much longer than past 5 or 6 p.m. So if I take an hour during the day for a break to rest and re-energize, it's actually not a bad thing because I'll still be working until 9 p.m. at night. And working with that belief and allowing myself time to rest, it just made me feel so much more connected and completely cut that desire to overeat, because it was not aligned with the way I wanted to feel in the first place. Once you know what other things can help you get the same reward when you experience the trigger, this is when you write a little plan for yourself. So you write, I will do when I feel, because this provides me this kind of reward. So back to my example, I will close my eyes and do 10 rounds of deep breathing, paying attention to the way I feel in my body. Every time when I feel overwhelmed before lunch, because this allows me to feel more grounded. So here I did the substitute behavior, I did the trigger, what would cause that behavior, and then the reward that it would provide me. Writing it on a paper and getting very clear is extremely helpful. So guys, I really encourage you to write it out. If you feel brave enough and you want accountability, please share it in the comments below on Facebook at facebook.com/spinachandyoga. And stay tuned. Sign up to Spinach and Yoga Facebook, and make sure you like the channel. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.